afternoon naps, Mirror's Edge, David Tennant are all underrated. These are things we look at and think, why is nobody talking about this? This is how I feel about Grand Theft Auto: The Ballad of Gay Tony. Released in 2009, The Ballad of Gay Tony follows Luis Lopez throughout the streets of Liberty City. This game is a part of the DLC collection, Episodes from Liberty City. You know, back when DLCs weren't completely shitty. This collection was meant to add and expand to the story of GTA 4, with 2 additional storylines that all tie together to make Liberty City feel like it was really lived in. And I think they really hit the nail on the head. Here's how. The story begins with the robbery of the Bank of Liberty. This is a mission we got to play in GTA 4. Here we are introduced to Luis Lopez. Luis works for Anthony Prince, aka Gay Tony. Tony is struggling to run his nightclubs, Massonet 9 and Hercules, so he decides to borrow some money from the Ancelot crime family and Maury Kibbutz. Tony basically borrowed money from loan sharks to keep his clubs up and running, but as you could imagine, this was a dumb idea. Because of Tony's dumb decision, Luis ends up having to work for these guys just to help repay Tony's debts. Whilst working for the loan sharks, Luis meets Yusuf Amir, a real estate developer interested in buying Tony's clubs. He helps Yusuf with a few basic tasks like stealing a helicopter, blowing up a yacht, and stealing a literal tank from the government.
What?
After jumping through hoops for the insufferable Maury, Luis ends up eventually settling Tony's debts, leaving him only indebted to the Ancelot crime family. Tony then comes up with the great idea of buying smuggled diamonds for $2 million and then selling them at a higher price. However, the deal is ambushed by the Lost Biker gang, resulting in the diamonds being stolen. Tony eventually finds out that the diamonds are going to be exchanged at the Liberton, so he sends Luis to get them back. Here Luis ambushes Nico, Johnny and the Jewish mob to take back the diamonds. In the meantime, Luis also begins working for the Russian crime lord Ray Bulgarian. Ray offers to clear Tony's debt, so Luis does a few hit jobs for him, but Ray eventually turns on him when it is revealed that the diamonds originally belonged to Ray. But then Giovanni Ancelotti orders Luis to give the diamonds to Nico as a ransom for his daughter. Tony and Luis eventually give in and decide to give Nico the diamonds in exchange for Ray's daughter, but the deal is then intercepted by Ray's men and it eventually leads to the diamonds being lost. Later on, Luis meets one of Ray's men. He tells Luis to kill Tony and in return Ray will spare his life, but Luis refuses and ends up having to defend Massonet 9 against Ray's men. Luis eventually decides to destroy Ray's drug operation, only to find out Ray is trying to skip town. So with the help from Yusuf, Luis rushes to the airport, boards Ray's plane and kills him, completely freeing himself and Tony from debt. Yusuf offers to buy Tony's nightclubs, but he declines as he would rather keep the clubs as a family business for now. Before we get into the good, there are a few issues. The game on PC is incredibly buggy. Between the laggy cutscenes, crashes and infinite loading screens, I was going mad. But I think this is a common problem with the entirety of GTA 4 on PC, and not just the DLCs. When the game was released on PC, it was notorious for being unplayable across most PCs. It's just a bad port, and it was never fixed for some reason, which is an absolute shame because GTA 4, Lost in the Damned, The Ballad of Gay Tony are all incredibly fun games to play. But hey, don't worry, as I'm sure we'll get GTA 4 the Definitive Edition released very soon, which definitely won't suck. Despite the poor PC port, this game is not talked about enough. It took GTA 4, an incredibly fun sandbox, and added more content to it, from the new base jump mechanic, to music, to sticky bombs, the explosive AA-12 gun, and much more. I particularly loved the AA-12, as it was just overpowered. From 1-tapping enemies to 3-tapping helicopters, it made my playthrough hilarious, easy, and fun. On top of the new content, The Ballad of Gay Tony brought a new perspective of Liberty City. In GTA 4, everything was dull and dreary. In The Lost and the Damned, everything was like kinda grey. And in The Ballad of Gay Tony, the colours were a lot more vibrant. Pair this vibrant colour scheme with the soundtrack and the new music, it really gives a new perspective of Liberty City, which fits in really well with the themes of this story and the new cast of characters. But despite the story being short and not majorly impressive, I feel like it fits in incredibly well as a DLC. GTA 4 had an incredible story about revenge and built an incredible city with an incredible cast of characters. The Ballad of Gay Tony fills in the details from plot points from the original game and expands on the characters from the city as well as adding in some more. And it did it amazingly. Throughout the story we see missions and characters from GTA 4, but from Luis's perspective. This additional perspective can really alter how we think about certain situations. A prime example of this is Brucey Kibbutz. In GTA 4 we meet him as Nico. He is an incredibly unlikable character who is only concerned with sex, drugs, guns, cars and his muscles, but he does seem to be kind of insecure. But then we meet Brucey again as Luis, through his brother Maury. Maury bullies Brucey a lot and is constantly making fun of him and making him the butt of all his jokes. This perspective of Brucey that we didn't see in GTA 4 makes the player second guess their opinion of him. Yes, he's still a piece of shit, but you do feel a bit of sympathy for him, as you can now understand why he is the way he is. The Ballad of Gay Tony improved on the content of its base game. It built upon its story, world and characters. This is why I think The Ballad of Gay Tony is an incredible DLC. In an age where DLCs are usually just overpriced cosmetics that don't add any substance or any value to their games, taking a step back and playing this DLC really blew my mind. For $20 you got around 17 plus hours of content, 2 fleshed out storylines with their own cast of characters that all added to and expanded on its base game. Here is a skin in Valorant I just spent $20 on. This is why Grand Theft Auto The Ballad of Gay Tony is underrated, and if you want to see the forgotten Grand Theft Auto, click the video on screen. Thanks for watching.